Thanks for joining me today at InvestorIdeas.com Clean Tech and Climate Change podcast, looking at today's problems and solutions for the future. I'm your host, Dawn Van Zandt, founder of InvestorIdeas.com, and hoping to share our way of making a difference in climate change. Good morning. Today I'm talking to Jim Payne, President and CEO, and Jean-Pierre Colin, Executive Vice President and Director of clean tech company dynaCERT Inc., trading on the TSX, DYA, and on the OTCQX, DYFSF, and on the Frankfurt Exchange as DMJ. They discuss the milestones achieved in 2020 that set the stage for success in 2021 and beyond for their global solution for pollution. dynaCERT Inc. manufactures and distributes carbon emission reduction technology for use with internal combustion engines. As part of the growing global hydrogen economy, their patented technology creates hydrogen and oxygen on demand through a unique electrolysis system and supplies these gases through the air intake to enhance combustion, resulting in lower carbon emissions and greater fuel efficiency. You can learn more about the company at www.dynacert.com. Good morning, Jean-Pierre. Thank you so much for joining me. At the end of the year, we're looking at a very interesting and challenging year, to say the least. And we all have our own personal and corporate story, but hopefully our listeners have really got to know the dynaCERT story. It's been fascinating for us to be part of it and help tell it. So for our listeners, can you really give us an insight as to the recap of 2020 and some of the challenges and also the milestones that you've achieved?
So to answer your question, dynaCERT has spent 16 years and over $60 million to develop its hydrogen technology with a line of products that reduces pollution and reduces fuel costs in all diesel engines globally. There's an estimated 1 billion diesel engines around the world in transportation, logistics, generators, construction equipment, mining, marine, locomotives. So we have a huge market, and 2020 was the culmination of those 16 years that came before. And we're proud to say that we've achieved many milestones in 2020. And as you asked, let me go through a few. First of all, financial growth, the best in the company's history. In 2018, we had $109,000 in cash at the close of the year. We're closing 2020 with $20 million of cash, a very strong balance sheet. In 2019, we had $4 million in assets. In 2020, we have over $20 million in assets. Actually, at Q3, we had $20.9 million worth of assets. In 2020, we listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange in July to better access sources of capital and offer more rigorous corporate governance to our shareholders in Canada. In 2020, we also listed on the OTCQX Best Market in the United States in June 2020, and that's witnessing our importance in the U.S. financial industry and their professionals. We also brokered a 3 times oversubscribed institutional deal underwritten financing in July 2020, which assured independent due diligence by Canada's top securities dealers. So we were underwritten by 8 Capital, PI Financial, Haywood, Industrial Alliance, and Stifel GMP. And as importantly, in that financing, we added 20 new institutional shareholders. They became shareholders of dynaCERT for the first time. In 2020, we created a subsidiary, a wholly owned subsidiary of dynaCERT called dynaCERT International Strategic Holdings, or DISH. And that was to facilitate sales and expand the financing options for our clients, the early adopters of our hydrogen technology. So, for example, we instituted a monthly subscription program in DISH. Carbon Clean, one of our dealers in Canada and the U.S., has already started drawing down on that program. And we now offer it to our 45 other dealers around the world, a monthly subscription program. We've also announced through DISH this year an alliance in freight tech to better service our clients. Also in 2020, we took advantage of the widely applied imposed shutdowns. During the shutdown, we added professionals, and we added and expanded our research and development department. But as importantly, we set up a semi-automated assembly line with an estimated annual capacity of 72,000 units. That would mean a capacity for sales of almost $445 million per year and net operating income of over $200 million per year. So we have plenty of capacity in 2020. And we continued hiring in 2020 to stay as an industry leader. Our R&D now has half a dozen full-time engineers. We added new dealers from around the world, and we also have a new head of service and maintenance to better train and serve our clients. So the dynaCERT epic continues into 2021. I hope that answers your question, but those are the highlights for 2020.
That's a very impressive list. Congratulate the team on that. That's exciting. One of the ways to get to know a person is to get a sense of their friends, and one of the ways to get to know a company is from their customers. And you definitely have a broad range of customers that you service, from mayors of cities, CEOs of companies. Can you give us some feedback and some sense of what they're saying to you directly about your products and services?
Sure. Well, everyone loves to reduce fuel costs and reduce pollution. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback. One thing that's important to understand, you mentioned cities and towns and municipalities. This year in 2020, we were certified by the United Nations as a UN Smart Sustainable Cities program. So we are now recognized around the world, or our technology is recognized, and many cities follow the UN recommendations on sustainability. So our first municipality this year was the city of Woodstock, and the mayor of Woodstock and his people are featuring our technology to other municipalities in Ontario. And we're talking, and we're in advanced talks actually with other municipalities throughout the province and in some other provinces as well. And one of the areas where this becomes very important is with busing, intra-city transportation. So we're talking to companies that are involved in local transit. We also are talking to companies that own locomotives and marine. But most of our clients are in the trucking industry or logistics industry, and those can be companies that are in transport, but it could also be Canadian big box stores and large retailers. So 2020, they have come back with some very good results, having tested our equipment or used trials with our equipment. And obviously, we're getting a lot of positive feedback there.
We are now switching over to Jim Payne, President and CEO. COVID has definitely been the news story of the year, but I think clean tech and environment is hand in hand, and we can still see it's such a major topic for people. And so many of the stocks and the companies in the sector have done really well. You look at Tesla, they're definitely a company that thought long-term and thought about longevity and stayed their course. And when you look at your company and your product and your technology, what do you think that you've done to make it a product that is going to be there for the long term? And how did you really integrate the thought of longevity into what you created?
Well, I think that's a great question. And you look at our technology. I mean, first of all, the technology we have right now today, I mean, this is a global solution to reduce pollution. This works now. This is technology that we're not thinking we can do or hoping we can do. It's done. It's proven worldwide, and it's proving successful. But, along with that, I mean, you look at all the patents that we've got. I mean, over the years, we have, it's interesting. Just last week, I was talking to an analyst, and he was saying, Jim, he said, that patent, he said, that one worldwide patent you've got on the means and methods of monitoring and monetizing carbon credits within internal combustion engines, he said, that's $1 trillion patent. He said, that in itself. And, you really stop and think about it. I mean, the company has gained a lot of patents. It has gained, a lot of ground. The market is huge. Like I said, our technology, we've got it certified with homologations now. It's gone to market now. But we also firmly believe that, with the 16 years of experience and, within the engineering and research and development, it puts dynaCERT in the perfect position to take advantage of the hydrogen economy. And, I have believed for a long time that the hydrogen economy was huge. And it appears that the world is just now waking up to that reality again. Everybody's talking about it, and everybody's talking about the hydrogen economy. And, you look at the technology we've got today, it's a great technology. It's now proven. It's a bridge to that hydrogen economy that we're going to continue to expand and grow, because DynaCERT has now gained worldwide recognition within the hydrogen field.
We are now switching over to Jean-Pierre Colin, Executive Vice President and Director.
One of the quotes that I love that Steve Jobs said was, he goes, "I don't need to be the richest man in the cemetery. I just need to go to bed at night knowing that I created something wonderful." And it sounds like your team has that same mindset, that it's really about believing in what you're doing. He was also very much a person about, all the noise on the outside, stay the course and stay the course in what you believe in. And I know right now in clean tech, there's, all the buzzwords and everything, and people are jumping on the bandwagon with EV stocks and everything. But, your product, again, is one to stay the course with. So when you're being influenced by what the trends are, how do you just stay the course?
And thank you for that question, and that's a beautiful introduction with Steve Jobs. So let me start by saying DynaCERT offers what we call a global solution to reduce pollution. So at DynaCERT, we think, we act, we communicate differently than many other ESG companies. Everything we do is focused on our belief that the world must have a global solution to reduce pollution. Our shareholders want this, our employees want this, our clients want this, and I'd say even our children want this. We gain new allies every day, one by one, and we're building an empire of people who espouse the imperative of clean air. And I like to summarize a little saying. I said, the world wants solutions to pollution. DynaCERT is a solution to pollution, so the world wants DynaCERT. And I say that tongue-in-cheek, but I really believe that. I like the very concept of discussing staying the course that you mentioned, because it's the mantra of many huge successful businesses that have become Fortune 500 companies, especially technology companies. Of course, if we make a mistake, we change how we do things, but we haven't lost any battles. And that means we should not change our course. We believe that our inspirational mission is perfectly clear. We have a global solution to reduce pollution. Our goal, our global undertaking to our clients always remains the same. But when one asks about staying the course, one has to ask, what is the course? From the outside, many people might see many courses, many vertical markets that we try to enter, for instance, since we operate globally. I often listen to people who like to give us advice and suggest sometimes that we change our thinking. But that does not necessarily mean that all their advice makes sense, given our motivating mission. Sometimes it does make sense, but sometimes it doesn't, at least not always. Free, simple, detracting advice doesn't come from our managers. Good advice doesn't come from those who simply observe and see, or given what they know, observing from one single perspective of the global pollution battlefield. I think great decisions come from knowledge, intelligence, and dedication. And decisions come from the leaders who have access to all the information of the battlefield. And yeah, sure, you might say generals depend on foot soldiers to advise them of the facts and the reality of the obstacle, as we do. But the most suitable advice, those who are aligned with our goals, a global solution to reduce pollution. And all of our sincere shareholders understand this well. They understand and want us to stay the course of a global solution to reduce pollution. You know, no great accomplishments happen overnight, but at some point in time, at some critical point, you can see for yourself that there's emerged something disruptive, something very powerful, and something new, never seen before.
We are closing this interview with a final question with Jim Payne, President and CEO.
And looking forward, 2021 and beyond, what are your goals for both the company and then how that ties into you personally with your mission?
Well, my mission has always been, I've always believed, we've got to create a win-win situation. And when I say a win-win, it's, I live by these little stories. And one is, you help enough other people get what they want, you get what you want. I am very excited. First of all, I'm a grandfather of 9 grandchildren. I am so thrilled to be able to be part of something that I believe is going to make such a significant difference to leave this world in a better place. And I look at that, and I think it's perfect. I mean, so my personal goals was to do that, and at the same time, we have a lot of shareholders and a lot of supporters of the company that will, end up doing very, very well with the company. But at the same time, we've got a lot of shareholders that share this vision of making the world a better place at the same time. We all know that, I was born and raised down in Lake Erie. As a kid, I remember swimming at the beaches, and then I went through a period of time when the beaches were polluted and it was such a mess. And to see things coming back and to be able to be part of that, it's thrilling for me. It really is.
Well, to use another Steve Jobs quote, because I love some of the things he said. He said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that can. So I really salute you and support, your mission and the fact that you are looking at the next generation and the one beyond that. In closing, on a personal note, we all look at as investors how management speaks to us, how personal that is. So what would you like to say to your shareholders that have supported you and stood behind you through this very, very challenging year?
Well, it's been a very challenging year. It's been a very challenging since I took over this company. But, I certainly want to, express my appreciation for the shareholders. And because if it was not for the shareholders and our employees, we would not be where we are today or who we are today. And, I have always believed in collective intelligence, and I look at the team that we've got today, at dynaCERT, and I really do think we are very well positioned to, continue down this road to expand and to grow in this hydrogen economy, and it's thrilling for me, and I certainly, believe that the carbon credit, world is huge. I don't think there's a company out there that's better positioned to be able to take advantage of that. And, the more I look at the world, the way things are changing and the way the governments are talking, everything like that, like I said before, I really do not believe that dynaCERT could possibly be at a better place and a better time than what it is today.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, and we look forward to following up with you in the new year, and better days ahead for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn.
That's it for today. Do something great for this beautiful planet each and every day. To hear more Clean Tech podcasts, visit the Clean Tech and Climate Change page on Investor Ideas. You can find it on our top template. Also, Investor Ideas has a lineup of other podcasts and themes, including the AII, the Crypto Corner, our cannabis podcast called Cannabis News and Stocks on the Move, rated one of the top investor podcasts in the sector, Play-by-Play, a podcast looking at sports and esports news, and Exploring Mining. To listen to any of our podcasts, visit our podcast page on Investor Ideas at investorideas.com/audio. And a reminder, you can hear our podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and most audio platforms available to you. If you like any of our podcasts, we would appreciate you recommending them or reviewing them on your audio platform. And to help you follow and track clean tech and renewable energy stocks, Investor Ideas has created a directory of publicly traded stocks in the sector. You can find that by going to our homepage, looking on the sidebar and looking at renewable energy and environmental themes, and you'll find our stock directories there. Investor Ideas does remind all of investors to read our disclaimers and disclosures on our site. You can find them at investorideas.com/about-disclaimer.asp. It is important to read these. And this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investment involves risk and a possible loss